Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the What Fills Your Cup podcast. I am your host, Riley Alexander, and today I am feeling extremely happy. Yes, so great. I am feeling happy because spring has officially sprung here in Vancouver. The cherry blossoms are out and so beautiful. The weather is getting warmer. I can walk out in a sweatshirt and not freeze to the core. I just love spring. And I was actually talking about this with one of my regulars the other day, and I was saying, I don't know what my favorite season is because I love fall. I love that transitional period. I think I like transitions in terms of weather because I love fall because I get to be all cozy and warm. And then I also love spring because I get to take some of those layers off. Not in a weird way. Don't get weird. I just love the transition periods and the flowers. The flowers in spring are probably my favorite part. If you know me, you know I love flowers. It's a bundle of love. I always call them that. And I just love spring. So I am in such a great mood to kick off this episode. And I'm also in a fantabulous mood because this month of guests, you guys, I am so excited for this month of all the guests that you will be meeting. My very first guest is someone that I think is going to catch you a little by surprise. I am so excited for you to meet this person. And that conversation, all my conversations I've had with everyone, I should say, have been incredible. Everything I could have ever asked for and more. So open and vulnerable and very, very insightful. So I'm really excited for the month of April. I cannot believe we are in the month of April to start. Oh my goodness, time is flying by. It's crazy when you start doing something that you love and you have like a schedule for yourself. Time goes by a lot quicker. Newsflash. That's something I've learned this year, I guess. I just feel really proud and I feel really excited for this month. I get to go away for a few weeks in end of April and beginning of May. And then I have so much planned. It's my partner's birthday. It's my sister's birthday. It's my sister's graduation. I just have a lot going on in the month of April, which I'm really, really looking forward to and excited for. So I'm just feeling super inspired, happy, and in a very good place. I just talked about transition periods of time. And for me, during transition periods have not always been easy. And I feel as though over the years and over time and help that I have gotten, I have learned to really appreciate and love transition periods, whether that be a new job, whether that be travel, whether that be friendships, whether that be partner. Pause moment. I have been with my partner for nearly 2 years now. That is something that I don't want to transition. He freaking rocks, but that's not the point of this video. But what I'm saying is that transition periods of time can be stressful, especially when I was in school and especially when I was completing my degree. I really always struggled in the months of, honestly, April and September. Just finishing a semester and starting a new semester, those times I always felt myself kind of crash and freak out. But now, as I've gotten older and make a schedule for myself and set goals and complete dreams and go traveling in my 20s, I have been really soaking it up and appreciating that those transition periods look different for you at every different phase of your life. Now, with transition periods, I really relied on my therapist for support during those times. And I wanted to talk today about all the benefits of therapy, what it has done for me, and how I have been able to grow as an individual and become a much, much, much better version of myself the past few years, I would say, and also share a little bit about my therapy journey. Maybe this will change your mind on therapy as a whole. I know for a lot of people, therapy can come across as a very daunting or scary scenario. Some people look at therapists as yes people. I completely disagree with that statement, by the way. But I will say there is a lot of different avenues that people look at therapy as. For me, it is something that has completely changed my life in the best way possible. And I am so thankful for my therapist, and I'm so thankful for all the tools that she has given me over the past X amount of years. And I want to share my therapy journey with you guys, and as well as share some of the tools that I have learned. We are going to bring this back to grade 10. And that was the first time I ever went to therapy. I clearly remember driving home from, I think it was school, with my mom. And I remember sitting in the front seat and I just was crying, and I could not stop crying because I felt so lost and helpless. I was having a really hard time at school with friends, with my peers, and with other just parts of what high school brought, boys and not fitting in, and honestly just kind of really beating myself down for not really any reason, but not understanding why I was not happy. I was really sad, and grade 10 was just kind of the start of taking my mental health seriously. I grew up in a household where asking for help and seeking help was very much an open discussion. I'm so grateful for both my mom and dad for providing that in a house, especially with two girls. Hormones are crazy, moods are all over the place, but when we weren't okay, we would be able to talk to our mom and dad about whatever it may be that we're going through. Bless my father's heart. Like, I can only imagine him sometimes being like, yo, this is a mom job. I have no idea. But both of them always were so caring and there for both my sister and I. If we ever had anything wrong or something was going on that we needed to talk about, my parents, I'm so grateful, provided that safety for both my sister and I. Our home was and has always been a very safe place to have open and vulnerable conversations. Obviously, some phases of life were a lot easier than other phases of life, but that consistent open conversation was always something that we have just had in our household. And that is something that I'm super grateful for. And so when I came to my mom, when I needed to get help or seek help from a professional, I just needed a third party, I guess you could say. And I needed someone to talk to whatever I needed to talk to at that time about, in an aspect where they're not connected to anyone in my circle. Not my mom, not my dad, not my sister. It was just a very third party perspective that I needed. I remember driving home with my mom, and I told her, I broke down completely, and I said, Mom, I'm not okay. Like, I need to talk to someone. And she, without hesitation, said, no worries. Dad and I will find someone for you. We will help you. And I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way. She didn't pry me for details. She didn't say, well, what's wrong? You have this, or what could it be? It was simple as that. Like, I am sorry that you're feeling this way, and I will help you take those steps. And that's all I needed. That is all I needed for her to say. And I am so grateful that that was her response, opposed to, well, what's wrong? Talk to me. I can try to help. It was like, no. I need this for me. And she could evidently see I needed that for me. So she provided me with that safe security and space. So the first time I went to therapy was in grade 10. And obviously I'm not going to share why I went to therapy. Like, hello, I'm not asking you to tell me why you went to therapy or why you started to go to therapy. But let's just say high school was hard. And let's just say that it is something that I look back on and I hated high school. I freaking hated high school. If you liked high school, that's great for you. But I truly think I found myself or came into the woman I am now once I left that toxic, awful bubble. Okay, that's the best way I could describe high school in the nicest way, if I'm being honest. So, if you liked high school, awesome for you, but I freaking hated it. And I will wear that badge loud and proud. I started going when I was in grade 10 and I went consistently, but I didn't click with my first therapist. Now, I remember I was on and off 16, 17 of going to therapy. And I told my mom, I need someone a little bit younger. Like, I need a therapist that is a little younger than the woman that I had. I felt like I was talking to my mom when I was in that therapy room, whereas I was looking for more of like, not a friendship, but where I could maybe say things and get away with some things and not have a mother figure talk to me. Like, it could be relatable in a sense. The words that my therapist was saying weren't really resonating with me because I felt as though I was just having a conversation with my mom. That is until I met my current therapist when I was 18, and it was like God sent. God sent her for me. She was my guardian angel and my fairy godmother. I swear to you, I got so lucky when it came to my second therapist. And I'm really proud of myself that I didn't give up therapy because I didn't click with the first woman that I went to, but the second one was just perfect. We just had that chemistry, that positive, open, healthy communication where I, to this day, will forever be thankful that I found someone as amazing as her. And like I said, I've been going to see her since I was 18. I am so thankful that she has been with me in so many seasons and phases of my life, and someone that also I just wholeheartedly trust. She will tell me when I'm wrong, but not say I'm wrong. She will word it in a way that is so respectful. And I feel so grateful that I have been given that opportunity and take that opportunity to this day where I can be in a safe environment and just share whatever is on my mind. Sometimes I'll go into my therapist's office and be like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. And next thing you know, she's like, you got about 30 seconds left of this session. And I'm like, what? What do you mean an hour flies by? Like, can we go grab a coffee and hang out? I'm not done. but obviously respecting that boundary and knowing that this is what I'm here to do, is to better myself and get the tools and help that I need. And I just cannot say more positive things about that because I really truly believe that therapy has positively changed my life and assisted me in growing into the individual that I am today. And I'm really proud of who I am today, if I'm being honest. But I'm also excited to see the person I continue to become. Growth is something we all need and do in all chapters and phases of our lives. And I'm not done growing as an individual. I am constantly seeking ways and tools on how I can consistently better myself. And honestly, with the help of my therapist, I have been able to do just that. So there's a little gist of my therapy journey, or when I started and how I met her, and a little bit about that. But I wanted to talk also about some of the tools that I have taken and learned through therapy. And maybe some of them will resonate with you if you have that fear of maybe starting to go to therapy, or maybe you want to go but you don't know how, or you don't know what it would do. I hope that maybe in this episode I could change your mind and maybe you could book a session. Maybe you could reflect and think, oh, maybe this could help me, or maybe I could benefit from this. Because like I said, it's helped me so much. So I just wanted to share some of the ways that therapy has helped me. I'm going to start off strong with one of my favorite things about therapy, and that is improvement on personal self-awareness. Okay? That's a mouthful. That's a huge, hefty topic. But I firmly believe that having those tools on how to be more self-aware has really, really helped me, and also being a better family member, a friend, and a partner. Through therapy, I have been able to really learn and understand my emotions along with my triggers and how I respond or react to certain things. And it helps me find the roots of where those triggers or emotions are stemming from and how I can articulate those in certain healthy ways. Not in a way that's attacking someone or reacting to someone or jumping from 0 to 100 really, really quick. I'm able to work through those roots and better understand, maybe this is why I had this reaction. Maybe this is why I felt this way when this person said this. Or maybe this is why I avoid these situations or scenarios. But understanding yourself is very important, and having someone assist you in that, in terms of asking maybe those deeper questions of, did something happen where maybe this could have affected you when you were in your formative years, and now this is why you react when a similar situation occurs? This self-awareness allows you to recognize how you handle certain emotions and also how your actions and reactions affect those around you. I think at the end of the day, understanding who you are and what makes you you in all the flaws and ups and downs really helps you become a much better friend, partner, family member, and especially when it comes to your communication styles. Speaking of communication, I think therapy can really help you in bettering communication with your peers or with your close circle. Therapy can teach you healthy communication and what works for you and your individual personality, as well as how to adapt to other personalities and their ways of communicating. It can teach you how to express your emotions in a healthy manner and also provide you those skills with how to express your emotions in a safe and comfortable way. You don't want to ever make anyone uncomfortable, but it can teach you the various ways on how you can be more open, empathetic. For example, going into a conversation that you might be a little scared to have or scared to encounter, you can go into it with the mindset of, okay, if I'm feeling this way, the other person might be feeling this way as well. And thinking, okay, I need to give a little bit of grace, because if I'm nervous, I'm sure that this person is also nervous or anxious or stressed, or maybe this conversation is going to bring up that person's triggers. I think being open and honest and someone that other people can trust, and also know that you can have a healthy, mature adult conversation with, is so very important. And I think therapy can help you put yourself in the other person's shoes and not feel like we're taking away from your feelings, but also taking that time to also reflect on how the other person might be feeling in whatever situation you may be dealing with in hand. Therapy provides a really safe and open space on how to better communicate with those around you. So I think that is also extremely important and extremely valuable when it comes to self-awareness and proper communication. Kind of touching on those difficult and uncomfortable conversations, I think that therapy can also provide you tools on conflict resolution, understanding where your emotions are stemming from, and also how you can release that conflict in a mature and healthy way without letting it escalating, without letting it get to a point of now we're both upset head on instead of gelling and meshing together. By learning how to navigate difficult conversations with your loved ones, I believe that this can navigate positive growth and communication and empathy, ensuring that you are someone that people feel comfortable coming to if there is a conflict is really, really healthy. This all promotes growth and understanding opposed to resentment. And I think learning how to go through those emotions or those patterns or those conversations, I think conflict resolution is a huge part of growth and maturity. Taking those tools can really better your relationships in your close circle, but also at your workplace. Understanding conflict at your workplace and how to navigate that conflict is also really important. And I understand at work, it can be very stressful for a lot of people, and how to navigate that stress and not react, but instead, okay, maybe my boss is going through hell at home and maybe they're holding on by a freaking thread. So I'm not going to jump down their throat and say, you're doing this wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Why didn't you help me with this? I need your help with this. Like, okay, how can I approach this in a way of we need to work together and we are a team. We're not against one another. Again, conflict resolution, great tool. Everyone should learn that. And if you haven't, maybe you should sign up for therapy and go to it, because I think the world would be a much better place if people actually learned how to deal with conflict in a healthy, sustainable manner. Through healthy communication and conflict resolution, I also think that therapy can allow you to work on becoming more empathetic and seeing different perspectives. I kind of touched on this when saying putting yourself in someone else's shoes, but I do believe that therapy can provide tools on really having that reflection and giving you that other person's perspective in a healthy way. Obviously, your therapist isn't going to say, well, they're right, you're wrong, but saying, how do you think the other person would feel? Because I think when you're hot-headed or frustrated or things aren't going your way, you can jump to, I'm right, you're wrong. I've been guilty of doing that, but I also now, with the tools that I've been given, understanding perspective is huge, and also giving other people grace. I think we forget that this is all of our first time ever being on this earth and planet, and that we're all learning every single day. And some reactions might be from a difficult day, or some reactions might come from something that you have no idea why they're coming from that place. But at the end of the day, also understanding, it could have been a bad day. It could have been the last thing that person needed. And just putting yourself in the other person's shoes is something that my therapist has worked with me a lot, especially when it comes to conflicts with my friends or my family, but also getting that third party of, you're not wrong in your feelings, but let's break down what the other person could feel and why they might feel that way. And I'm so thankful that my therapist has given me those tools, because now I feel as though when I am in a situation of conflict, I am always taking a step back and reflecting and putting myself in the other person's shoes first before I have that conversation or that confrontation, because confrontation is a very scary thing. And it's scary for everyone. It's scary for anyone. If someone says, I'm okay with confrontation, okay, you're nuts. So I think that practicing empathy is so important and huge, and it can also give you a better understanding of other people's emotions and other people's feelings and how to navigate those in a respectful way. Obviously, over the years, my therapist has provided so many tools for me: how to reduce stress and anxiety, how to break negative patterns, how to emotionally regulate myself. There has been so many tools that I have learned through therapy. But I will say one of my favorites, and one of the last ones I really wanted to talk about on today's episode, is personal growth and self-regulation, self-awareness as a whole. I know we already talked about that, but I really do believe that the personal growth is a huge component of therapy. Your therapist is able to go back in sessions and say, well, a few weeks ago you talked about this, so let's unpack that, because we didn't get to talk about it in more detail, but you brought it up. So obviously it's something that you think about. You might not know you even said that comment, but let's talk about it and unpack that. And I think that having someone that you can vent to if you're feeling a little lost, or if you're not knowing what you want to do with your life, or if you're feeling behind, or work's overwhelming, family's overwhelming, your partner is stressing you out, gosh knows what the case may be, but I really do believe that therapy can help you with that growth and also allow you to reflect on the past, but not stay in the past, but can help you reflect on it to push you to have a better future. As therapy can help you improve your self-worth, this can assist in allowing you to show up more confidently, more authentically when you're with your family and your friends and your circle, your social circle. Because if you show up as your best authentic self and understanding what makes you you and what you like, what you don't like, maybe you needed that little push to sign up for something, or maybe you needed that little push to quit something that wasn't filling your cup. I think therapy is a really good outlet to have those conversations with a third party that knows you, but also knows the complete, real, and raw, authentic you is so very important to have, and have those tools in your back pocket, because you can also remind yourself, like, I know what I deserve in this life. And sometimes you might forget, but having someone there to remind you, this is what you deserve. You shouldn't be putting up with this. This is not making you happy. How can we change this? Those are all questions that are hard to ask yourself. So having someone there verbally telling them to you can also really help you in your self-growth and self-reflection. Kind of circling back to the beginning of the episode where I talk about self-awareness. So, all in all, to wrap up today's episode, I just wanted to share some of the ways that therapy has really helped me, some of the things and tools that I've used on how therapy has allowed me to be more compassionate, empathetic, supportive, caring. And not saying that I wasn't those things before, but saying that as I've grown up, those are things I really value in other people. So I want to make sure that other people can value that within me, and someone that they can confide in and trust and be open with. Those are very valuable characteristic traits. And I'm really, really grateful that with the support of my therapist, she has been able to offer those supports and those tools for me to ultimately become and be the best version of myself. If therapy is something that you are scared to do or scared to confront, I promise it is not a scary thing at all. They are tools and resources that are just there to help you and also better understand you. That is something that for so many years I did not understand. I barely knew who I was. But as the past few years have gone on, especially being diagnosed with ADHD, I really do believe I have grown into the most confident and authentic version of myself. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, that's okay. I'm okay with that. And that is something that I did not know before, or I did not practice before. But now, as I've grown, I feel really proud of myself that I have taken those tools to understand and let go of some things, and ultimately be the happiest, healthiest version of Riley. Thank you guys so very much for listening to another episode of the What Fills Your Cup podcast. Do not forget to comment your feedback, give this video a like, and obviously hit that subscribe or follow button. It really, really helps me, and thank you so much for helping make my dream come true. This is everything I could have ever asked for in life, and I just feel so grateful that every week I get to sit down and have a really open and vulnerable conversation with my listeners. Before I sign off, if you haven't heard it today, I love you, and do not forget to tell someone you love them, because you never know who needs it a little extra. I will see you guys on Sunday for my very first guest of April, and I am so very excited for you to meet this individual. This is an episode you will not want to miss, so don't forget to tune in. With that being said, I will see you on Sunday for another episode. Bye, everyone.